Hi everyone. We'll be starting the free Learn It Live session right on time. Thank you for joining in early. We have an interesting session lined up for you, but before that, I would love to introduce myself. So my name is Rasha Khan, and I'm joining all the way from India. And I'm thrilled to be a host today, and I would love to know where are you joining us from. So you can drop us a hello and let us know your name and where are you tuning in from. Let's interact a bit, right? Let's interact with the folks who have joined us as well on the chat here before we start the session. So we have a very interesting topic lined up for you, and we'll be covering how you can unlock your data game with generative AI techniques in 2024. We already have our expert speaker Basil Daklala here with us, and who will be taking us through this interesting topic. We'll be talking more about Janai will be talking more about data analytics, and also we'll be covering the program preview for the Caltech CTME Data Analytics Bootcamp. So we'll be deep diving into that and sharing with you program insights and covering the learning part in the program as well, and what more program has to offer. So thank you so much for joining us. We also are streaming live on our YouTube channel as well. So welcome everyone on the YouTube live chat box as well. A lot of you folks who have joined us already. So welcome everyone. You can also put down your introductions on the YouTube live chat box for us. So let me just quickly go and check out the YouTube live chat box as well. So you can also let us know by dropping us a hello there on the YouTube live chat box and letting us know where are you joining us from. Awesome. Let me just quickly see the introductions coming in on the chat here. Folks who have just joined right now, we are just starting off. We just are doing quick round of introduction on the chat here. I see Carol has joined us from US, Nika from the state, Baltimore, Maryland. I see Savannah has joined us from Seattle, Washington. Would love to know your name. And Alyssa has joined us from Phoenix. And I see Trish has joined us from Greensboro, North Carolina, US. And I see Lana has joined us from Lawrenceville. So please keep the introductions coming in. Thank you for joining in early. We are just starting the session. Before we start the session, let me just quickly take you through the ground rules of the session here. So in case you have any questions for our expert speaker, you can put down your questions in the Q&A box. Now, where is the Q&A box? So if you have joined from mobile, the Q&A box will be on the top. And it will be basically named as a Q&A box. So you can click on that and you can submit your question there. And whenever the speaker gets time, whenever the time allows, we will address your query. So, and for folks who have joined us on desktop or laptop, you will see the Q&A box just beside the chat, webinar chat box, where you can see your amazing introductions coming in. So we are just starting off. I see a lot of new folks who have just joined in. So just to let you know, just going through the ground rules here. Also, the session is being recorded. In case you miss anything, you want to go through the recording of the session once again, you can expect a follow-up email from us with the recording interview after the webinar. And also for attending this webinar, there is a webinar certificate. So you can request a proof of attendance for this webinar by providing your full name in the post-webinar survey. So we will need your details, your full name in the post-webinar survey. So the session is 75 minutes long, and once the session ends, you will get a pop-up by Zoom which says post-webinar survey, and it will ask you for your full name, and you can provide us that because you will need that personalized data in order to send you the personalized webinar certificate for attending this webinar. So these are the ground rules. I know a lot of you folks have just joined. Please don't worry. We are just getting started. I will nudge about the ground rules on the chat as well. And you can let me know if you have any questions. I'll address them as well. So we'll talk on the chat. Don't worry. Also, this program is powered by Simplilearn, world's #1 online bootcamp. We have been in the digital skills training space for more than a decade now, and we are very proud that we have transformed lives by empowering people via these digital skills. And the skill we are going to talk about today is data analytics. So, and also we have advanced over 5 lakh plus careers in over 150 plus countries, and we have 40 plus global accreditations and 800 plus qualified trainers who do an amazing job, in upskilling you with these amazing skills here, category skills here. So thank you so much This was the introduction, and now moving on towards the agenda of today's session. So, the first and the most important agenda of today's session is about you, getting to know a little bit about you, how we can help you out in your data analytics career better. And the second agenda of today's session is the topic of the Learn It Live session. So our expert, our speaker Basil, will be taking you through how you can unlock your data game with the generative AI techniques in 2024. We'll be covering that topic. We'll be spending some time there talking about Gen AI and data analytics, how they go hand in hand, and also showcasing you live, a demo of how we can do it as well. And also the third agenda of today's session is what does the Caltech Data Analytics Bootcamp offer you? So we'll be covering in the program introduction once we are done with the topic about the program introduction, the learning path, what tools are covered, what projects are covered, how exactly this program helps you. And also, based on the interest you share towards enrollment, we'll be taking you through the enrollment steps of the program. So enrollment steps of the program, and after that, there's a special duration secured for Q&A, and you can let us know if you have any questions. Just to remind you, I know a lot of you folks have just joined. We are just starting off. Please don't worry, you're not late. And we are just doing a quick round of introductions on the chat here. And you can drop us a hello on the chat, let us know your name and where are you joining us from. It's always good to network at these events just to get to know who all have joined us from different parts of US. Also, the Q&A part is towards the end, but if the time allows, our speaker will be paying attention to the Q&A box and addressing your queries as per the time he has. Moving on to the next slide. As I mentioned, that the first and the most important agenda is getting to know a little bit about you. So let's start with a quick poll here. So the first poll here is how many years of experience do you currently have? So I'm just launching this quick poll on Zoom here, and you can let us know by choosing the most suitable option for you. Now, when I talk about experience, I'm talking about work experience. So the first option here is currently studying, second one 0 to 3 years, and the third one 3 to 5 years, and the fourth one more than 5 years. I see a lot of you have already started responding. Also, folks who have joined us live on YouTube, watching us live there, you can let us know on the chat by dropping your responses on the chat there. Also, let me just quickly go through the introduction on the chat here. I see a lot of new introductions. Lana has joined us, and I see PK Singh has joined us from Seattle. Melanie has joined us from Michigan, US, and Chris has joined us from Canada. Suresh has joined us from Seattle. Angel from Montana, US. William from Michigan, US. Great. Thank you so much for the introduction, folks. A lot of you folks I know have just joined in. Please don't miss out. Please do let us know where are you joining us from. What is your name before we start the session. I see Dipti has joined us from Toronto, Canada. Hey Dipti, Funmi has joined us from Lagos, Nigeria. Caroline has joined us from Orlando. I see someone has joined us from Texas, US. Would love to know your name. Not able to make out your name for you and ID. I'm so sorry. And Michael from Oregon, US. Minal from New Jersey. Marai from Colombia, and a lot more introductions here. Awesome. I see most of you have responded for the poll here. How much experience do you currently have? So I'll be giving 5 seconds more for the poll before I end the poll. So last 5 seconds, folks, for the poll. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll and also share the results with you folks here. Thank you so much for sharing your responses for the poll. Awesome. Let's see. 44% of you are currently studying, interesting. And 30% of you have more than 5 years of experience. That's interesting. A lot of experience folks here. And 0 to 3 years of experience have gotten 21% of votes. And the third option, 3 to 5 years, have gotten 5% of the votes. And I see a hello on the YouTube live chat box as well from Ahmed. Says hello from Georgia. Welcome, Ahmed. Let us know if you have any questions during the session. We'll pick it up from the YouTube live chat box as well. So I'll stop sharing the responses here for the poll. And please keep the amazing introductions coming in. But before that, would love to introduce our expert speaker, Basil Daklala. Very good morning, Basil. and would like to quickly introduce Basil here. So Basil here is a data analytics and engineering senior manager. He has been leading 3 teams in marketing and growth, data analytics, reporting and visualization, and DQA and automation. And also, he's been building advanced analytics applications for internal business users and healthcare clients, and also has conducted sessions for 500 plus employees and consultants in the industry. Also, he is a Simplylearn trainer for Caltech, UT and Purdue University programs as well. So once again, welcome, Basil. We have an interesting Learn at Live session lined up here, but I'm pretty sure this slide does not cover the amount of experience and skill you have. So we would love to know it from you as well.
Thank you, Russia. Thank you for the kind introduction. And hello, everyone. Happy to be on board here. And welcome to our exciting session about generative AI and data analytics. So as Russia stated, I do have an extensive experience in data analytics, data engineering, machine learning, AI in general. And one of my favorite topics as well is, which is data visualization. And in fact, data visualization is very impactful in our in every application I can think of pretty much, is because this is how you can communicate your insights and important findings to your stakeholders. But yeah, as Russia stated, throughout my experience, I've developed various applications, whether it's dedicated for building visualizations or reports, or deploying machine learning applications that serve the healthcare and marketing industries.
Thank you so much, Basil. It's always a pleasure hosting you, and I'm sure like folks have an interesting session to look forward to. So let's quickly start with the topic here. So basically, welcome to the future of data analytics. Talking about what exactly is generative AI to start with.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure most of you are aware now that generative AI and AI in general is rocking our world, right? It's you hear it everywhere. You see a lot of applications left and right. And this course is going to give you an exposure to generative AI, and specifically focusing on two main aspects, which is GANs, stands for Generative Adversarial Networks, and then VAEs, which is Variational Autoencoders. But just to summarize this, we'll definitely dive in deep detail with these two aspects during the course, but high level with GANs, you have to think about a situation where you have two neural networks or two systems that are communicating with each other, and those are they work together so they can generate either data, images, or video. And one of them is the generator, and the other one is what we call the discriminator. And that discriminator is what guards any specifications that came from the prompt, for example, and will always be, think of it as the gate to approve the output that comes from the first network that I mentioned, which is the generator. And then VAEs is just another type of generative model, which based on the encoder-decoder architecture. We'll also talk about some core components or concepts of the generative AI, things like differences between some models like GPT, which what you're familiar with ChatGPT. Another model that is not as popular but also effective is the BERT model. I actually do have, eventually we're going to get into a demo, so I can showcase an example of how BERT works, and then GPT as well. And in the course in general, we're going to talk about those key differences, also the architecture, the engine behind them, with also some information about different AI models that are very impactful, specifically for deep learning, like recurrent neural networks and convolutional neural networks that are being used for computer vision. Another important aspect, and this is something that we deal with on a daily basis as machine learning practitioners, data scientists, is finding ways to make our work more efficient. So automating the tedious data preparation tasks and also finding the most efficient techniques and effective techniques to clean the data. And I do have actually an example to show you what certain situations or scenarios we might come across throughout the data management industry where we have to build methodology to treat the data and clean it up and make it ready for multiple applications, analytics, machine learning, AI, all these applications, and at the end of the day, they require clean and ready to use data. Another component of the course is focusing on different types of analytics. So we have inferential analytics, or this is mainly focusing on the statistical aspect of it and building hypothesis, also providing observation, and then deriving the hypothesis based on the observation. And then also a very important concept in analytics is predictive analytics. This is where a lot of businesses rely on data to come up with predictions or forecasting, whether it's time series data or something that is leveraging specific measurements or attributes that can be used to make a prediction. We call those attributes features in data science. There's also text and sentiment analysis. I'm going to show you a demo of how certain models like BERT, for example, can be used for sentiment analysis. There's also techniques of perfecting that type of model and system by using good NLP standards. And NLP stands for short as natural language processing, which is the process of capturing text or audio data and cleaning it up, removing any redundancy, removing any filler words, so it would be ready to be processed by the AI system.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Basil, for taking us to how data analytics, is the future and how we can use generative AI techniques for data analytics that we'll be covering now. So we will be starting the Learn It Live topic now, folks. So if you have any questions, you can let us know on the Q&A box. Speaker Basil Taklala will be paying attention to the Q&A box to address any queries whenever he gets the time. So over to you. Let me just quickly also stop sharing my screen. Let me know once you're ready to share as well. Basil.
Absolutely. So let me share my screen and go ahead. And Rasha, please let me know if you are able to see my screen in a second once I start sharing.
Sure, sure.
Okay. Is this visible to you?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay.
Folks, let us know if it's visible to you as well. You can reply by sharing yes or no on the chat.
Perfect. And what I'm going to do is what I prepared for you here is just an example to talk about the techniques that we are going to be using, we're going to learn in the course. So what I want to do is think of this as like an interactive 5 minutes. We're going to do is basically take a look at this table that I put together for you here. What I want to do is maybe spend the next 2 minutes just to get some of your ideas about what do you think is wrong in this data set. So we have a table with multiple columns and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows. And would love to hear your thoughts on what you think. There are some problems and errors in this data set, but this is going to be a good use case to show you how data needs to be cleaned, needs to be rearranged or standardized, so to speak. All right, so I'll give you guys a couple minutes and then I'll start reading some of your messages. Okay, see, we already got a bunch of questions. So while I'm reading through these, feel free to also submit your answer or observation. I'm going to scroll up to the top of the list. So I see here um, Angel from Multi Brain is saying one of the IDs replicated. That's right. So you can see here is 7896 is replicated. And that tells us that there could be a potential issue with the data where we may have duplicates, right? And duplicates are a problem because they just redundant and they don't help if we are trying to process this data in a machine learning system. They don't help. It's just extra data that is redundant. So we're going to learn about techniques, how we can remove the data for the redundancy. So duplicate records, that's the first one. And then I see missing data. That's right. So missing data. And this is where we use a technique in machine learning. It's called imputation. And missing data is harmful when you pass this data set to a machine learning system. So you should always make sure that there is existing information. So we'll learn about different techniques and which technique to use, what is more effective in terms of imputation or addressing missing data. Also, someone noted age. That's right. So you have two problems with the age column, right? We just talked about missing data. The other problem with age is that you see that there's a high value of age. So what we can say is possible outliers. This is where we have high values or extreme values. It doesn't have to be on the high end. It could also be on the lower end. So extreme values. And in some cases with machine learning, it is recommended to remove extreme values because they cause noise. They are extreme values, they're not normal. So we'll talk about ways to address that. Someone mentioned country, that is right. So inconsistent data element for country. So you see here it's 890. So that makes sense. All of them have a country name except for this row. It could be maybe an issue with the system that is capturing that data element. And instead of putting a text value, it put a number value that is a code for our country. So those issues are very common, believe it or not. And we deal with those a lot. And that's why we need to learn these techniques. All right, I'm going to take one more suggestion and then we can move on to sentiment analysis. So let's see here. Let's see. Mixed data types that we address that. Age. Score A and score B are not defined. That's a good point from JC. So score A and score B, we don't know what those are. And one recommendation that I always tell my students is that always look for what we call the data dictionary. This will always help you understand the meaning behind those columns and how you can deal with these columns. And also will help you explore why we see, if you look at the scale for score A versus score B, these follow two different scales. And that's another problem we face in AI and machine learning implementation is those machine learning algorithms, they prefer to have standardized data. So what we're going to do is we're going to look into techniques of how we can standardize our data. So we call score A and score B need scaling or standardization. Okay. All right. Um, so that was really helpful. I really appreciate the collaboration here. Definitely you guys identified the most important or the most critical issues here in the data set. Moving on, I want to talk about sentiment analysis, and I have a quick exercise that I prepared for you here. We can leverage the power of AI to extract information from text and be able to give us insights on what the sentence or expression means. So let's think about a scenario. Let's suppose we host an application that has reviews for restaurants, for hotels, and so on, and we want to run an analysis. Obviously, if we hire a human being to read the reviews and record down the sentiment or the overall vibe of these reviews, that is time consuming. And another thing is that there's the human error that might happen, right? So we can leverage GPT-based machines or the BERT model or generative AI to give us also sentiment analysis to evaluate the meaning of the sentence. So that's what we mean by sentiment analysis. So for this exercise, what I want to do is I want to leverage a library in Python. So what I'm about to do now, I'm about to code in Python, which is going to be the main language we'll be used in this course. And I'm just going to show you quickly a demo. I do have, so I'm going to pull the transformers library. So what we do in Python is basically you install libraries, and then you call those libraries in your code so you can apply them. So what we want to do is basically we want to import a few libraries here. And first of them is the auto, and those are going to be sub-modules of the libraries, right? And let me actually activate Python first. So I'm going to do import transformers. And I'm going to also import Torch, which is an AI library. Okay, that's developed by Facebook. It's PyTorch, and it's very useful. It has a lot of good functionalities in AI. We're going to also import regex, and this will help me with text editing in case it's needed. And then the second step, what I want to do is basically I want to pull sub-modules from the transformers library. So I can basically do from transformers import auto encoders, and those are going to help me, or auto tokenizer. This is going to help me process the text in short and break it down into what we call tokens. And you'll get an explanation how these processes work. So right now we have just a short demo. So I'm just giving you a high level idea of how these work. And then we're gonna import auto model from sequence. And you can see here the recommendation is going to help me with pulling the exact verbiage of the library name. So I'm running this cell so it can give me enable the functionality. And another thing I want to do is I want to import a model that is available on a platform for AI. It's an open source platform. When we say open source, that means it is available free of use, and there are a lot of developers that contribute to it. And this library is called BERT Sentiment Analysis. It's under the Hugging Face platform. So the Hugging Face platform hosts NLP models and sentiment analysis and even a GPT. So you can actually pull GPT-2 from Hugging Face. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to record my link here from Hugging Face. And then you can see here it says NLP Town, BERT-based multilingual uncased sentiment. And if you copy actually this link, let's go back to it here. You'll see it'll give you explanation about the model and how it works. Basically processes multiple languages. You have English, Dutch, German, French, Italian, and Spanish. There are other models there that can process different languages, but that's what we're going to be using for now. Another piece is I want to basically initialize my tokenizer. Again, the tokenizer here is going to break down my text. Okay. So tokenizer equals my auto tokenizer that I just imported. So you can see now I'm using the functionality that was imported. Okay. And then I'm going to say from pre-trained. And what this does basically, it grabs the knowledge that was acquired by the model that I'm importing here using the from pre-trained. So what you want to do in certain situations, you don't want to train your model from scratch. You want to save time, you want to be efficient. And therefore, you want to borrow the prior training that was done by the engineers that developed this model. And that will save you time, not to mention that they have access to powerful machines that will train on millions, if not trillions, of rows or lines in data, okay? And then I want to define my model here. And I can basically say my auto model sequence classification. And this is where I can also grab the pre-trained with the link. So here I'm grabbing the tokenization mechanism, which is classifying and breaking down my text. And then the second piece, I am importing the model from the link that I just showed you, okay? And the rest is pretty much easy. So you have two options here. You can either, if you're familiar with basically doing beautiful soup, okay, which can connect to your data set or connect to a website and pull information from it, okay? Or you can pass text inside your program here. So for example, if let's say let's do a quick exercise. We'll say we have a review here and someone is talking about an experience in, at a restaurant, right? So you can say the food was good. So I'm just trying to type a piece of text that represents the review that I'm going to evaluate here. So the food was good and but the service could have been better, okay? And I'm going to remove the comma here because there's a way to actually, that's part of the NLP concept that I explained where you clean your data. So I'm just going to remove any bad characters or extra characters that are just pointless to the algorithm. So now I can basically establish a token and then I can say tokenizer that I just defined up here, okay? And then I can do encode. And this is what's going to help the algorithm understand my text. And now I'm going to pass my review, okay? And then I'm going to put an attribute that is going to give me the tensor, which is what the algorithm expecting as an input. So that's the format that it's expecting so it can process the data. And then after that, I want to define my result, okay? And I want to say model, grab my tokens. So two things I'm doing here. I am preparing my data, so pre-processing the text data, which is tokenization, okay? And then pass the tokenized data into the model, okay? So let's run this and now give it a second to process my data. Now I can take a look at my results, but the problem here is the results are going to be in raw format. So raw format that was outputted by the neural network. Okay. So this is just readable by the neural network and it's not a good use for us. So what we need to do, we need to convert back to readable output. And to do that, we need to use what we call activation functions. And we'll learn about those in detail, what they are, how to use them, when to use them, and things like that. And to do this conversion, all I can do is just wrap the output with an int function. Then this is where I'm going to be using PyTorch tool, okay? And then argmax. So I'm using argmax functionality from PyTorch, and then we're going to be using result dot logits. And this will basically give me the output of the algorithm. The other part is I need to add a +1 here because the machine, when it gives me a review, so basically the output, the expected output here, output is a scale, a star rating from 1 to 5. But the computer doesn't start counting from 1. It starts counting from 0. And that's why I'm adding +1. Okay, so let's take a look at the output. And here it's giving me 3-star rating. So the algorithm, after processing this data or this review specifically, it determined that this review means, or the sentiment analysis is on a scale of 3 out of 5 stars. That's what the model does. So it scales from 1 to 5 stars, and now it gave me 3 stars. Let's do actually another quick example. Let's do a completely positive review. Excellent food and superb service, for example. So if I run the whole thing here, let's see what we get. We can see that we got 5 stars, which makes sense, right? We're being very positive. We're saying excellent food and superb service. Okay. And I think we do have a Q&A section towards the end of the call. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to submit your questions in the Q&A section. We have a Q&A section, as Rasha stated. I want to walk you through another exercise, which is using GPT-2. So this is also available in Hugging Face. So if I go here and I look up Hugging Face GPT-2, so they're hosting their flavor of GPT-2, which is accessible to the public. Now you can access GPT 3.5, but that requires registering for it and then building a token. For the sake of our time and this short demo, we're gonna basically just focus on GPT-2, which is functional still, right? So what I'm gonna do is from transformers, I'm gonna import my pipeline. And this pipeline is going to help me extract the text generation functionality in GPT-2 and basically apply that model. So now I'm going to say text generator, okay? And I'm going to say, okay, pipeline function with text generator, or it should be dash here. So text dash generation. So this means I'm pulling the text generation functionality. And here, this is where I can specify the model I'm using, which is model equals GPT-2. Okay. So I'm going to run this just so I can test it, make sure things are going well. And it just takes a second to import the functionality. All right. So that means it worked well, took 4.6 seconds. Not bad. Now I can build a function or an instance where it can generate the text for me. And now I can use a function called text generator. I'll open parentheses and let's just feed it a prompt. So what we can say, let's say define statistics, for example, just like any prompt. So this is where you can pass any prompt you prefer. So I can say define statistics, and I can specify the length of the response, by the way. So I can say maximum length of, let's say we want to do maximum length of 100 words. And I can say, give me different iterations. So I can say number of return underscore sequences. So if you guys are familiar with Gemini, which is used to be called Google Bard, it gives you 3 variations of the answer in the prompt. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to see maybe, for example, 3, or let's do 4 responses, right? So now I'm going to run this, and so we can get the generation. Give it a second. Let me make sure I typed in things right correctly. So maximum length equals 100. Number return sequences. It should be S. Okay, so it's running smoothly now. So let's give it a second to finish. So my prompt request is done now. Now I can view my data. And if I type in generated text instance here and I run it, now I can see all of the responses. Now, this is a bit hard to read is because it's putting like a line breaks. You can clean up the data later, but you can see here, define statistics, okay? So here it tells you that while term statistics is often used to label stats on any given statistics, will come with a collection of words contain more data, these statistics. So it just gives you different ways of answering that question. Now, obviously, we're going to also learn about prompt engineering. You need to be more specific when you're passing information to GPT-based models, right? And so the art of statistics, here's another response. The art of statistics has developed a unique and innovative philosophy about creating data systems that make informed decisions. So it's just because the question, tell me about statistics, is very broad, it's giving you different variations. We can take this to the next level, or we can actually be more descriptive. So I can say, give me a story about a queen that lived during a civil war and the difficulties she had to address. Okay, so you can run something like this and give it a second. Obviously, it's probably better to increase the maximum length. And then I can run this. And then now it can tell me, the book is about two women with strong personalities that have great love for one another. Sometimes the responses, if you're not that specific, will not be exactly what you're looking for. And but you can see we have variety here. Here's another response. It says, her people have you learned about queens in the 20th century. It says the queen was born 1789, correlation, and so on. I don't have to read the full prompt, but this is basically a proof of concept of how you could use GPT-2 in your local system. If you're familiar with Python or familiar with having your own coding environment, basically you can connect to that transformer-based system and run prompt on it. So Rasha, that concludes our demo. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Basil, for covering the topic here. Can I share back my screen?
Sure.
Awesome. So we just covered the learner topic, how you can unlock, your data game with generative AI techniques. And we'll be moving on to the next slide here. So we can see that you are interested in data analytics, and after covering the topic, we would love to know what is the concern here when it comes to becoming a data analytics expert here. So what's stopping you exactly? So we will be launching a poll now, and this one is a multiple choice poll, and you can select from the options here. We would love to know through this poll that what are the challenges you're facing, what's stopping you from becoming a data analytics career. So let me just read out these options to you. The first one here is I can't find a program with a fully comprehensive curriculum. Second one, I wouldn't get the practical exposure I need to become job ready. And the third one, I find it difficult to learn from pre-recorded videos. And the fourth one, my work schedule won't allow me enough time for learning. I see you folks have already started responding to the poll here. Also, we are open to the questions you have about the topic. Please let us know in the Q&A box. I saw a lot of interesting questions in the chat box. So our speaker Basil will be paying attention to the Q&A box and addressing your queries towards the end. So this is a really good time in case you have any questions, as we will be moving towards program introduction shortly. Awesome. I see most of you have responded for the poll here. Let's give it 10 seconds more. So we would love to know what's stopping you from becoming a data analytics expert. Also, if these options do not cover your concerns or challenges, the Q&A box is open for your queries there. We have already started getting some fantastic questions there in the Q&A box, which we'll be addressing in the Q&A part of the session. So please have a little patience and make sure your questions are related to today's session topic or the program. Awesome. Last 5 seconds for the poll here, folks. What's stopping you from becoming a data analytics expert? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll and also share the results with you folks and our speaker. Let's see what have you voted for. I see 43% of the votes are for I wouldn't get the practical exposure I need to become job ready. And 35% of you have given votes for I find it difficult to learn from pre-recorded videos. Interesting. And 30% of the votes are for I can't find a program with a fully comprehensive curriculum, and another 30 are for my work schedule won't allow me enough time for learning. That makes sense. A lot of you are experienced folks here. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That definitely gives us an understanding and a speaker, how to tailor his responses and while covering the program introduction. Now, quickly introducing you to the Caltech's Data Analytics Bootcamp. This program comes with a comprehensive and industry-aligned learning path. We'll be deep diving into what exactly the learning path looks like, what all the things we are covering. Also, we have integrated hands-on labs and projects for practical experience. I think we have gotten a lot of votes for, I wouldn't get that practical experience, right? So we have a lot of projects you can work on through this program, and we'll be talking more about that. And also, the format of this classroom is online virtual classrooms. We'll be sharing the learning environment of the program to show you a combination of self-learning and live learning batches, how you can offer it, what exactly the learning environment looks like when you take up this program from Simplylearn. And also the program duration for this bootcamp is 6 months. You can just complete it by giving 10 to 15 hours per week. Moving on to the next slide. Also talking about the Caltech CTMA advantage here. So the California Institute of Technology is a 130-year-old institution. It has been the home and alma mater to many Nobel laureates, and it presently ranks in the top 5 universities worldwide. And having a Caltech CTMA on your CV through this program will be recognized worldwide and will be a really good accomplishment to add to your portfolio here. Also talking about the eligibility and the prerequisites for taking on this program. So you need to have a prior coding experience or technology know-how is optional. And also you need to have a high school diploma or equivalent, and you need to be at least 18 years of age. So a lot of basically from the poll I saw that a lot of you are conditioning as well. So you can take up this program, you need to be just 18 years of age. And also, you are encouraged to have a prior work experience, but it is not compulsory. If you have it, it definitely adds as a plus, whichever field you come from, any kind of experience. But if you don't have it, that is totally okay. A lot of these basics which are covered in the program will be covering in the learning part of the program. So, moving on to how this program by Caltech CTME prepares you for data analytics. Starting with how this program builds your data analytics skills step by step. So, Basil, if you can take us through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what you will be learning here is that we'll start off from scratch. And I think a lot of the concerns that were raised is about the people who don't have any experience in the industry. So we do deal with different levels of experiences where some people do have some data analytics background and some of them don't. And we do work with both groups, and our projects are designed to work with both. They're easy to work with type of projects for people who are just starting from scratch. And then there's also uh, more advanced projects. So you have the option to choose those projects, and those are required at the end of every course. But just to talk about the career, or not the career path, the learning path here is we start off with business analytics with Excel, just to understand the basic business analytics concepts, and then we can talk about those, how we can solve for some problems using complex functions in Excel. And then we'll talk about techniques in data acquisition and manipulation using SQL. I mean, I'm a manager, I lead teams, and I hire people. SQL is becoming the number one requirement for a lot of data professionals, whether you are a visualization expert, machine learning expert, AI, you name it, or just a data analyst, or even a statistician. You need to have knowledge in SQL because this is your way of communicating with the database and pulling information from it. The third course that we see here is extract, transform, and load. Very important topic for what we call data engineering field. And this is where you build pipelines or processes that grab the data, transforms it, put it together, summarizes it for other teams in your companies or even for your team's use. And then the fourth step is data visualization using Tableau. Now, we don't usually try to focus on one product, but sometimes we have to, this so we can specialize in one and then give you all the functionalities of it. Tableau is now holding a big chunk of the market share in visualization. The second one is probably Power BI. So that's the other popular option. But we also have courses about Power BI. But all that to say is that we teach you on the most common tools. That way you can have more compatible requirements with the different companies you want to work with. The next step is a very important course, which is the fundamentals of Python programming. So back to the question that was asked for people that don't have much experience in programming, this course will prepare you for it. So before we jump into how to use Python for data analysis and data manipulation, we want to also give you an introduction about Python as an object-oriented language and how to use it and how to have a full understanding and leverage its functionalities. Next, it is time to, after you're ready and you've acquired knowledge from the fundamentals piece of Python, we can focus on data analytics with Python using libraries like pandas and NumPy. And towards the end of the course, we have the capstone project. Now, this is not the only case where we have a project. We should have a project towards the end of every course that will help you enforce your learning. And your instructor should be able to walk you through that project and help you with tips and bits so you can finish that project. But at the end of the full course, all these modules, there's a bigger project called Capstone Project that will encapsulate all the topics that you've learned throughout the learning path, and it'll help you enforce your knowledge towards the end. And I think this also addresses some of the questions we've had of people that are just hesitant about signing up for the program, is about the being prepared for the industry. The projects that we have prepared for you in these courses are coming from real world scenarios. So things like financial analysis, fraudulent detection, financial transactions, marketing, healthcare data, engineering data, real estate data, you name it.
Thank you so much, Basil, for taking us through these steps here. Also, talking about the electives here, we have essentials of generative AI prompt engineering ChatGPT. We have just shown you a preview how generative AI can be used for data analytics. That is just a small example to cover from a lot of things which are covered in this course by Caltech. Also, applications of generative AI in data analytics, data storytelling using Power BI, and data analytics with R programming and data ethics. So these electives are optional and they come as a part of the program, and we don't charge anything extra for that. Also, moving on to the next slide here. There are a lot of tools and platforms, they'll be learning through this program, Basil. So maybe you can take us through a few of these tools which are very important. I think you have covered a few in the topic as well.
That's right. So we'll start off with Excel. Everyone knows Excel, but not everyone knows the powerful functionality of Excel and how to aggregate the data. Believe it or not, I mean, the teams that I work with, they're very sophisticated, have very advanced technical skills, but we still to this day use Excel because of its ease of use and ability to capture data on the fly and summarize it before we build a holistic approach using Python or other tools. And then SQL, I can't stress enough about the importance of learning SQL as well as Python for a lot of different applications. But SQL is more dedicated for database querying. And then Python is, think of it as a diverse type of functionality, has a diverse functionality in terms of querying the data, visualizing it, building pipelines or processes for data extraction, and then deploying machine learning algorithms. And then pandas, think of this as a component that is under the Python umbrella. It's a library dedicated to run data analytics on top of Python. And then we've got Tableau as well, which is a visualization tool. And it's also dedicated for building dashboards and sharing those with your stakeholders.
Thank you so much, Basil, for shedding some light on these tools and platforms you're covering, and there are many more which are covered in the program. Also, you need to stay up to date with the skills as well in the data analytics field, right? As you have covered generative AI, as one of the techniques in data analytics, which is new. But then there are so many other skills which are covered in this program for them to become a data analytics expert. So, how exactly, are these skills going to be helpful for someone who basically aspires to become a data analytics expert here?
Yeah, absolutely. So these skills, I would say, I go through resumes, I look also at job postings, and these are becoming very popular skills on high demand, regardless to the industry. So you see now every industry is investing so much money into embedding data analytics and AI capability. So not just AI, just data analytics in general, right? So you see that we have huge volumes of data and we need to sift through this data, and we cannot do that unless we have experts that are knowledgeable in statistics and visualization, Python skills to automate your process and also unlock some functionalities that are not available in other tools. Also, you have SQL, ETL. I've expanded on those earlier. But in addition to those, learning about clustering techniques like segmenting your population, for example, or learning about the difference between linear and logistic regression, when to use each, those are very important in terms of building insights and also providing prediction functionality to your team.
Thank you so much, Basil, for shedding some light on these skills which are covered in the program. Also, moving on to the capstone projects, I think we have gotten the highest amount of votes when we did that poll. What are the concerns when it comes to pursuing a career in data analytics or becoming an expert? So the most amount of votes were gotten that they wouldn't get the practical experience through this program. So how exactly this program is helpful through these capstone projects, and how exactly it helps folks to build that portfolio once they are done with the program?
Yeah, absolutely. So back to my point earlier is that every course or every submodule of the main cohort should have multiple options for you to work on as a project. And you can pick one project or you can even work on all of them. All of them you can receive feedback for all of them if you want to, but you'll get graded on one project. But all that to say is that you'll have multiple options to choose a project that is close to your industry. So we have projects about financial data, projects about marketing, projects in healthcare, um, manufacturing as well. So we've got a pretty much wide scope in the different industries that will train you to have ability to understand different source of data, different techniques, different formats of data, and how you can think about it in terms of that industry.
Thank you so much. Moving on to the next slide here, quickly showcasing the learning environment of the Caltech Data Analytics Bootcamp. So let me stop sharing my screen. Do you want me to share my screen? I can show you the learning environment. Maybe you can just guide me through.
Yeah, please do so.
Yeah, I'll just go to the program. So yeah, folks, this is the learning environment of Simplilearn. So once you take up the program, this is how it looks like. This is how you can access your course. So maybe Basil, you can just quickly take us through what exactly happens in the learning environment.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see um, uh, high level, the platform will show you those courses that are listed, that were listed on the previous slide. And you have the first component here, which is course one, business analytics with Excel. And then course two is data acquisition and manipulation and so on. So you have every course separated, and then you can access the content of each course. And what we provide, we have three main ways to transfer this knowledge to you. Is the first one is the pre-recorded content. So if you don't mind, Russia, if you can click on one of the sections here. So we have the pre-recorded content, which what we call self-learning. And this is where you can take your own pace and watch these recordings, learn from them. But if this is not your favorite way of learning about it, we also have live sessions. And this is where you connect with your instructor. We conduct live sessions, and you can work with your instructor. This is where you can, let's say, for example, you went through the self-learning and you still have follow-up questions. The self-learning pre-recorded videos did not answer those questions. You can join the live session and ask those questions. And then also on top of that, the instructor will always bring in some insightful examples and try to talk about the industry and how certain techniques are implemented in the industry in a real world scenario. So two main components. And then the third component here is we also give you the materials that are associated with the course in terms of code and slide deck. You can download those anytime. And we also provide a lab environment where you can, if you don't want to code on your local machine, you can also use the virtual environment that is provided here by Simplylearn. And this is also showing you how, if in order to, we have a certificate for every course. So let's say, for example, you finished business analytics using or visualization using Tableau, and you want to get the certificate for that. It'll tell you the requirement, which is that individual project associated with the course. And then to pass, to get the certificate and pass the course, you need to finish the project.
I was just clicking on other courses here.
We also have electives. So the electives list that Rasha mentioned, those are available in the second tab.
Yeah, so basically this is how you can track your progress here through the, you're not able to see the live classes here, live batches, because there is an upcoming cohort and we'll be sharing that, which is the upcoming cohort, when is induction happening. So yeah, but Basil has thoroughly explained how it looks like. Also, we have a help section here. So during the program, if you have any questions, this help section is available 24/7. You can just chat with us here and let us know if you have any questions. You can search for articles and any questions about the certificate exam or the labs and projects we have. So this is very helpful. So moving back to the slide, we just covered the learning environment of the Caltech Data Analytics Bootcamp. And we have global leaders as the program advisors. Rick Hefner here is the Caltech CTMA Executive Director. He has over 40 years of experience in systems development and has served in academic and it is still in research positions. So here, Rick Hefner, who's the global leader from Caltech, makes sure that Simplylearn is delivering as per standards of Caltech. And moving on to the learner outcomes here. So interestingly, the previous classes have consisted of learners coming from world-class organizations like Amazon, EY, Fidelity, Johnson & Johnson, Vodafone, Accenture, Ericsson, Infosys, NVIDIA, TCS. Again, like these are just to name a few of them, but it does not restrict them from only from these companies. There are thousands more. And also the industries, the diverse industries they come from. Who basically come and join this data analytics program. They come from IT, BFSI, software product, pharma, healthcare, and retail, and many others. Also, Simplylearn also provides career assist services, which helps you with your job search. This is for US learners. We have partnered here with Talent India, where you get access to the Resume Rabbit job portal, which has a wide employer network. You get a verified job search framework there. Also, we have a resume review and rewrite services from Top Resume. This is in partnership with Top Resume, where you get assigned an SME who, from the first contact, helps you with the kind of skill set or job role you're applying for. And there are 2 rounds of revision here, and it basically takes up to 1 to 2 weeks to get the final resume output here. Now that you're done with your resume, you also get basically help with the interview as well. So there are one-on-one interview services as well. Here we have partnered with Top Interview. And similarly, with just like resume, you also get an SME assigned here and who helps you with practicing for the interview based on the specific skill set or job role you're applying for. Again, this is with a continuous feedback session applied. Yeah. So, and end of it all, I'll be getting a Caltech Bootcamp certification. I'll be showing you that next how it looks like. Also 23 hands-on projects and 3 caption projects with seamless access to integrate labs, which basically will help you showcase that practical experience once you're done with the program. And also you'll be earning up to 13 CUs to showcase your achievements. That is equivalent to 130 hours of learning. And also you get to be a part of the Caltech CTMA Circle membership after you're done with the program. So you are basically a part of a much broader circle at Caltech CTMA. Also, the online convocation with the Caltech CTM and Simplilearn will be happening online. So it's very interesting that not only can you invite your closest relatives or friends, but also your far relatives and friends as well. That makes it very special and memorable. Also, as we have already covered that we'll be exploring generative AI applications and various data analysis scenarios, and we have just shown you a quick preview through the Learn It Live topic, how you can use the generative AI for data analytics, and also a dedicated course with live sessions on generative AI and prompt engineering. We have covered that as well. Also, practical exposure to ChatGPT, DALL-E, Midjourney, and other prominent tools, and the Simpleton's Career Assist services, which we have partnered with Talent Inc. for you to get noticed by top hiring companies here. So this is just to summarize all the things we have covered in the program review of Caltech CTME Data Analytics Bootcamp. Also, this is how the certificate will look like. Let me do one thing. Let me just quickly show you the program page as well. Yeah. And also share the link towards the program in case you want to download the syllabus. Basically, once you're done here. So let me just do that. Let me just share all the things we have covered here. So this is the Caltech Data Analytics Bootcamp. You can see here with live online classes on generative AI on the top. You can go and download your syllabus here in case you want to go through the syllabus and even after the enrollment step. We have already shared as an online bootcamp with a combination of self-learning and live learning videos. And all the things we have covered in the program, the key features, this is how the certificate looks like. This is by California Institute of Technology, Center for Technology and Management Education. You can see the name here. This is certified to an accreditation here by Caltech, and also this is for the Data Analytics Bootcamp. Yeah, this is the learning part which we have already covered. You can also share your interest towards enrollment and also download the program syllabus here. Skills we have covered, the amount of skills this program covers, to make you a data analytics expert. Also, we have a lot of these tools which are covered in the program, which one of them which we have just shown you, AI, how it works with basically data analytics. So yeah, this is basically the page of the program, and you can see the demand for the data analytics industry here as well. So there is expected to be 25% growth in data analytics job by 2030. And yeah, all the details are there in the program. Now moving on to the slide back. So yeah, we are done with the program preview here, and we would love to know your interest for enrolling into the Data Analytics Bootcamp by Caltech CTM. I'm just launching a quick poll here. You can let us know by sharing your interest as yes. And after this, I'll be taking you through the enrollment steps, and also Simplylearn's learning consultants will be reaching out to you once you have shared your interest as yes, and they will be taking you through a much more detailed walkthrough of the program. If you have any questions, they might address it as well. And also, yeah, I'll be sharing the cost of the program after this. Yeah. I think we have a lot of questions here in the Q&A box. We can start addressing them, Basil, if you have time.
Yeah, absolutely. I've already answered a few via responding in text, but I can expand on that one. That way the
Sure,
rest
sure.
of the group is
Yeah.
aware. So the first question is someone asked about the platform that I'm coding in. I'm basically using Visual Studio Code from Microsoft, and I'm using an extension called Jupyter Notebooks, which allows me to break down my process into steps and run segments of code. You will get to learn about how to set up your coding environment during the course as well. So if you are not familiar with that, we'll help you with that as well. Kajir Don is asking, what is the reason to still teach R if Python sufficiently exceeds the programmatic needs in data analysis? Well, yes, it's true. Python can cover almost every aspect of data analytics and machine learning, but certain companies do require some knowledge in R. And that's why the course is an elective. It's not a requirement, right? So you can add that as an elective if you're interested in learning about R and how to use it for data analysis. Okay, so it's not a requirement. Let's see, additional questions. Why not using Tableau for storytelling and Power BI to extend the data analytics tools availability? The problem that we have at hand is we try to put this course in a short period of time, and we understand certain people have different learning track, different capacity or availability. So if we're going to cover two softwares, that's going to take additional time. The way we look at this is we start with Tableau, and a lot of the mechanism that you can learn from Tableau can be applied. So things like aggregation, the types of charts, those can be applied in Power BI. Plus, there's an elective that you can add for data storytelling using Power BI. So I feel like this type of setup will help address for the people who demand on learning both tools and also interested in learning having these two tools at hand. Let's see, next question. Why waste time with Excel and not dedicate that space to deepen your knowledge of SQL and data analysis? Well, if we have Excel, it doesn't mean that we're not going to talk about advanced techniques in SQL. We are still going to cover advanced techniques in SQL. But a lot of these courses are built based on a lot of surveys that come from you. A lot of our users or our students, they're also interested in leveraging or taking their skills and knowledge in Excel to next level. And understanding also some of the statistical concepts that we want to learn about, understanding that from the Excel perspective, because that's how a lot of people also can link the dots. So if we jump directly to applying statistics using Python, sometimes it's not that relatable, right? So starting with Excel, then moving on to Python, that proved over time as very effective way to transition and show the techniques. So hopefully that answered your question or clarified any concerns.
Thank you
Do you
so much for that.
cover? Yeah, go ahead, Rasha.
So sorry to interrupt you, Basil. We will be ending the poll now, and we can carry on with these questions in the Q&A part. So quickly ending the poll, thank you so much for sharing the responses for the poll here. Now, based on the interest we have gotten for the Caltech Data Analytics Bootcamp, I'll be quickly taking to the enrollment steps. So three simple, easy steps you'll have to follow when the learning consultants from Simplilearn when they reach out to you. So you'll have to apply at Ask Us at Simplilearn. You'll have to submit an application to the step one. And based on that, the application will be going for review based on the eligibility and the requisites you have shared. Caltech CTME will be reviewing your qualifications. And based on that, the learning consultant from CPM will be contacting you with the admissions offer letter. So this is just to give you an overview what is going to happen after this, now that you have shared your interest towards enrollment. And also talking about the program fee, I think we have gotten a few questions about that. So the program fee is of 8,500 US dollars. And also we have financing and monthly installments options also available for as low as $748 here. And also, even after the webinar, if you need any assistance, you can reach out to us at askus@simplylearn.net. We do have limited seats per cohort. For that, quickly showing the cohort which is upcoming. We have few seats left in that. If you would like to enroll, I'll also share the link towards the program here on the chat as well for your referencing. For a lot of you folks who have shared interest towards enrollment, this link should definitely help you out for downloading the program syllabus, going through any questions you might have about the program. Share the link, which I've just shown you live. So the induction for the upcoming cohort will happen on 7th May, and the classes for this particular cohort will be starting on 24th of June. So this is the next closest cohort. We do have limited seats, of course, per year. So yeah, moving back to the Q&A part, I think Basil, you have managed to address a lot of these queries here. So if we have any more queries left, so maybe we can take just few minutes to address them and close the session.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see here. I think Shatika was asking a question about will you have AI jobs or career available as well? I think that the answer to that question is what you displayed earlier, Rasha, about career advice and resume review. So we have some career advice services that will help you and prepare you to apply for jobs. Not to mention how you'll be able, a benefit of this course is you'll be able to showcase your work, right? Some people may struggle with a situation where you don't have enough uh, experience in the data analytics field or machine learning. And with that, when you work on projects that are closer to the industry you're interested in, you can showcase that work. And if you can talk through the project and explain what you've learned and your vision about it, I think that will speak volume about your capability and good skills in data analytics. Let's see here. We can answer one more question before we end this. For the capstone projects, can you use ChatGPT to help us with the completion of the project? I guess you can, but I don't recommend this because if you think about it, you want to learn how to code. You want to learn the errors that you are going to come across while you're building your project, right? So ChatGPT may help you with tips, but don't 100% rely on it because it won't help you learn and enforce the information in your head if you continuously rely on it and you don't remember some code snippets or syntax and how to put it together. Also, another thing, ChatGPT sometimes gives you bad responses or bad code, especially for a very sophisticated and specific request. Let's see. Any other questions about the industry or the topics in general? I think we answered them all pretty much. Are there any questions that I missed from the webinar chat in
No,
Zoom?
let me just quickly check. I think a lot of the folks have moved their questions to the Q&A box. I requested them.
Okay. Okay. Let's
Just
see.
checking. Yeah.
Okay, I think I answered all of them there.
Also, we are towards the end of the session. We are right on time, Basil. Thank you so much for taking us through this interesting Learn It Live topic, how they can use generative AI for data analytics, and also taking us through the program preview of the Caltech CTME Data Analytics Bootcamp. I think we saw a lot of interest towards enrollment. I think we'll be seeing a lot of them upcoming cohorts. Would you like to say something to folks who are looking forward to this field, career in this field, and would you like to say something to them before we end the session as well?
Absolutely. I think curiosity and your excitement about AI in general or data analytics is what brought you here. So continue with that. I salute you. You're on the right track. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll be able to address any concerns you may have about the course. And hoping that you will join these courses and learn from our very skilled and experienced staff and teachers.
Thank you so much. Also, folks, I will be ending the session now. Thank you for being an amazing audience, very engaging one, and also for the webinar certificate for attending this webinar. And now I'll be ending the session, and you'll be getting a pop-up by Zoom which says post-webinar survey, and you can enter your full name there if you want to get the webinar certificate as well. So that is how we can send you. Also, there'll be a feedback section as well. You can let us know how was the session, what other topics or things you'll be like to see it cover, and we will love to bring those webinars to you. So thank you so much. Thank you for the appreciation I see on the chat here as well. Thank you so much once again, Basil. We will be coming with such more interesting topics for webinars. You can check out the link I've shared here. You'll be seeing a lot of Basil's webinar as well if you would like to attend them as well. So you can check out this link for upcoming webinars here. So thank you so much, everyone. We'll be ending the session now. Have a good day. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you.
Thank you.